Sarah, you just did a focus group about furries. I'm Ron
Okay.
Burgundy.
No, JVL. Of course, that's not what happened.
Okay.
But this was funny, although Twitter is making me so mad. Because nothing's funny anymore. This is just what I mean. Maybe Kirsten Cinema just got like so fed up with everybody and has just like decided to just one epic troll after
Cancel
another.
culture,
Because
run amok.
run amok. So I'm doing this focus group with Wisconsin swing voters, and it's a terrific group. They are thoughtful. They voted for Trump in 2016. All the reasons I always say, hated Hillary Clinton. He was a businessman, maybe do something different. Saw him over the 4 years and we're like, absolutely not again in 2020. And we're very much sticking with it. But they all voted in the Republican primary, which was pretty interesting. And most of them had voted for Governor for Cleefish, who was the slightly more establishment
I'm
type
sorry,
over
just
this
for
guy.
clarity, the Republican primary in 2022 in the Senate and governor.
In
This
2022,
issue.
like
Got
just
it.
in this last round, they voted in the Republican primary. And so that's how they're thinking about themselves, right? Like they were Republicans, they voted for Trump, then they voted for Biden, but they're still voting in Republican primaries, and they all tried to basically vote for like the more normal of the two Republicans. They hate Ron Johnson. And so but just out of nowhere, so they're just talking and I'm just listening. It was done the other night and I was just catching up. I couldn't watch it live. And so I was watching the recording and I was listening. And all of a sudden, this woman, she's like, she's talking about just how the country is falling apart. And she just says, and I'm a teacher and I was at the school the other day for this event, and there were like 12 or 15 kids who were dressed as furries. And like there's sort of this like record scratch in the group. And like some people are like, what do you mean furries? like and this group is just like all like middle-aged people. And so like
Lutheran, Wisconsinites, mild mannered, not a lot of cursing. Dag
Sarah,
mammoth.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna require you to do the entire rest of this story in the Wisconsin accent.
I can't do it. And she's true. And she's like, but her point was like, this is the problem with Trump is that once you just like anybody can say whatever they want, anybody can do whatever they want, bing, bang, boom, you got kids acting like furries. But so then some of the people in the group are like, what's a furry? And the moderator too is like, is that when you dress up as a stuffed animal? Which I thought was like, so first of all, also my understanding of furries is pretty limited. I just think it's always been like a funny thing, something people say about Beto, like Beto's a furry. I don't know. So this woman says like, yes, I had to explain this to my 90-year-old mother recently. She's like, I told her that this monkeypox thing is real, and I told her that about furries, and then she defines it for the group.
She was trying to kill her 90-year-old mother.
She defines it. She said her mother had a tough time, coming to grips with this. But she said that that furries is when you identify as like a dog or a cat, which I was pretty sure wasn't right.
Incorrect.
That's not it.
Incorrect.
And so people but the group is really funny because the group is reacting two ways. There are like old men being like, they identify as cats and dogs. Like one old guy is saying that, very nice guy. And they're just shaking their heads like, this is the world has gone crazy. And then there's other people that are sort of like, so there's like the people that are like disbelief, but like whatever. And then there's the other part of the group that's like, yeah, this is a real thing. I know about this. I've heard about this. And it's just I was laughing. I was crying with laughter, but then I tweeted about it.
Before we get to the Twitter drama, there was not a single member, including the moderator. Did the moderator just not want to be Candy Crowley? There was not a single member of the group who correctly defined the furry. Which is
I don't think so. I don't think anybody had like
it's a sexual thing. It's not a gender identity thing, right?
That's right.
It's like you get off on fucking mascots.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Jamie.
Right. Yeah. So I think.
I'm sorry. Right? Is that wrong?
Thank you for summing it up. I was going to give a much more deliberative explanation than that, for some of our listeners to work them in. But no, you get off on fucking mascots is exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, Sebastian put it in the comments.
Yeah, his definition's also a little softer. JVL really got the essence of it.
an enthusiast for animal characters with human characteristics, in particular, a person who dresses up in a costume as such a character and
Yeah.
uses one as an
Yeah.
avatar online. Oh, that is also
Yeah.
softer because
Then they meet
my
in public. They're
understanding.
meetings. They're furry meetups, and you'll have like a Care Bear and whatever Woody the Woodpecker, and they get together, and they
And the Philly
yeah,
fanatic with
there's
that
some
tongue of his.
flirting happening, and
Right.
I've never really quite
Come on. I
understood.
get nothing for the Philly fanatic.
I was letting it
Nothing.
go. I've never really quite understood like the particulars of the orgasm and how that goes
Okay.
down, because I think there's some challenges for the males in particular. I think there's
Oh,
some challenges there that I never really understood, but besides that, I'm pretty well versed. I just the end game, I don't know the details on. Sebastian does, but he said he was going to share it offline. So
okay. So I just because I think I saw a documentary or something like on MTV when we were like all in our early 20s or something. This was a thing, and
mm,
that's like the last time I ever like clocked this phenomenon. And of course, at the time, it was just like, all right, like this is goofy, but whatever. This isn't like a real thing. Like it's not like a lot of people do this, and if they do, and people want to get dressed up as animals and like I don't know,
God
hang
bless
go
out,
them.
for it.
like whatever. It just like seems like relatively harmless
It
compared to
does.
many other things one could be doing.
I
Uh,
mean, why don't they dress up as Confederate
Goalkeepers.
soldiers and go out and do militia work? That would be wholesome.
Yeah.
It's terrible that they're dressing up as Elmo to bang it out for the other. They should be out marching with armbands and AKs and
Tri-cornered hats,
AR-15s.
but
muskets.
that's not
That's
why this is
real
funny.
America.
But that's not why this is funny. This is funny because while they're having furry panic on this thing, right? And she's explaining it, like she's explaining it wrong. And so like the people in the group, so it's like it's about identifying as cats and dogs, which is a nut, which I think is a newer phenomenon that, as Tim points out, is related to what is sort of the panic over the current gender
Correct.
identity that's going on, right? So it's sort of like
Okay. It's
queer.
not a new phenomenon. It's like a series of Facebook memes that old people are reading and thinking are true.
Well,
So, I mean, I'm sure that there were like kids at this school who like had, I don't know, like cat's ears on or like,
Yeah.
or
That's a thing they
something.
make for girls now. They have headbands with little
Oh,
cat's ears on them. It doesn't mean that these
I'm a
kids
mouse.
are
Duh.
are walking around saying, "I demand that you address me as Miss Peebles or
yeah. Or
something."
they were in like footy pajamas being like teenagers. Like, this is the thing. This is where moral panic meets like kids being weird.
Gullible old
Well,
people.
like kids being weirdos just to do it because, they're
What
teenagers. Like,
did?
they put on trench coats. They were goths. They were
Can we
whatever.
get this
Everybody's.
woman on though? Like, I have some follow up questions. Like, what are the pronouns for the cat kids? Like, were they demanding to be called like, kitty, kid,
She clearly had just like seen it. Like
purr?
this was an and but then somebody else did chime
I
in with
don't
this
think she
other
did. I
thing.
bet you anything she didn't see it. I bet
No,
you
she
she read
saw it.
something on Facebook.
No, no, no. This was she had a very clear story. I'm not gonna because I don't wanna like put a
Outer.
place around it, right? But she had a very clear story about a place she was and a thing that she
But they
witnessed.
were
So
She
I'm
was in
not gonna
crucial Waukesha
they were
County,
dressed up in
and
costume
this
though. It
this
was
is this is
costumes. They
per
were in
this person
costumes.
this person is totally normal.
Yep.
She is not. You do not need to disparage her. She's telling you a thing that she saw. She's just somebody who gets caught up, right, in this like because there is this sort of panic about gender identity right now and there's all these things and like kids are identifying as strawberries and like everything, cuz like kids are just being weird. People use that as a way to be like, "Boy, whole country is falling apart." And I'm like, "Guys, teenagers have always been weird and like older people have always been mystified by young people. Like that's all
this
that's
is
happening
literally the
here.
Satanism panic with the
This is
goths.
not
Do you
the end
remember
of
that?
Yeah.
society." But I thought it was just funny. Like I just thought it was like pure joy,
And the people
funny.
on Twitter shared in your mirth?
No, everybody like
Oh,
immediately
what happened?
decamped into like, "Oh, and that's Biden's fault." And I was like, no. Like actually she was blaming Trump, but like it's neither of their faults that like for generations kids have been weird and adults have been mystified by their like practices. That's just this
But
is just
then there
funny.
was the
Like
other
why can't any just
category
think that's
of Twitter complaint.
oh, and then yeah, but then there's the other category who's like, see, this is how like gender queer theory is destroying America. I'm like, guys, none of this is everybody settle down. This is
Did
not
you
all
have
the thing.
anybody from the left chastising you for not taking the furries' concerns seriously?
Well, I did. There were people in there, yeah, being like, I've met furries and they're very nice people, and I'm like,
I'm
okay,
sure.
well, this isn't. I'm not disparaging
I love
furries.
furries.
I'm not disparaging the. This is just funny, guys. And why can't it was meant to be a timeline cleanser, and instead everybody takes everything so seriously, and everyone
You
should
can't
stop
have
it.
timeline cleansers these days, Sarah. Okay, please just focus on the enemy. All right, tweeting about the enemy and why they are always bad. That's the only
The
thing
bad people.
that is acceptable.
Everybody's just joining us for the first time, thanks so much. Go ahead and subscribe. Mash that subscribe button.
Tell
And
your
also go
pals.
over to the Bulwark. Tell your pals. Go to thebulwark.com. Follow Tim on Twitter. Follow Sarah on Twitter. Sign up for Charlie's newsletters at thebulwark.com. Read all of our great stuff. Listen to the podcasts. Follow the videos. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Peace.